Frequency. Your frequency is going to determine what your life is. And in this video, I'm going to share 15 plus years of knowledge about frequency so you can learn exactly how your frequency works and then use it to change your life. It was my job to have a practical and intimate understanding of frequency as a sound engineer. And what I learned applies to how the universe operates and how you operate. So today, I'm going to bring you through an in-depth guide of what frequency is, how to use it, build it, change it, and master it so you can master your life. Now, there's a lot of people in the spiritual space or manifestation space who will talk about frequency, but most of the time they just make it confusing or make it seem like some hidden magical thing. This is going to leave you confused and stuck, but not today. Today, you're going to finally understand how frequency works. Let's get into it.
Shots fired.
Why every time you think shots are fired? I'm just telling people that, hey man, they might be doing something wrong. I must say today, I am actually quite excited about this video. And y'all requested it because I put up a poll and 80-something% of people requested this versus doubling your income using the laws of the universe. So here we go. Now, what you firstly need to understand before I get into frequency is you need to understand the second Hermetic law of the universe, correspondence. So if y'all have been to the channel before, y'all know my diagram. We need some space here today. The square's a little off, but that's okay. Actually, I can't live with that. I need to fix that up.
It's a quick fix.
Real quick, you know? Just straighten that up a little bit. All right. So we live in a spiritual mental, and physical world. This is the law of correspondence. 3 planes of existence. They all relate to each other. What happens spiritually happens mentally. What happens mentally happens physically, and vice versa. They are all connected. At the peak of the spiritual plane, the initial creation spark of the universe is what the Hermetics call the All, or the Christians call God, or the Muslims call Allah, Hindus call Brahman, atheists call Big Bang. Whatever you conceptualize as the initial creation spark of the universe. In order to understand frequency, you need to understand the law of vibration, okay? And I draw this here. Spiritual plane vibrates fast. As we get down into the physical plane, it vibrates slowly.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that's the neatest I've ever seen you write.
Slowly. Also, this is gonna be a masterclass, guys. Take notes. You're gonna wanna take notes on this one, for real, because I got a lot of knowledge to give you guys. It's 15 plus years of my knowledge around frequency. So what you gotta understand is the third Hermetic law of the universe, vibration. Everything in the universe is moving. Everything in the universe is vibrating. Even something that you consider an inanimate object has particles in it that are moving ever so slightly. Now, I could apply energy to the particles within this marker, and it would melt into a liquid, which has faster moving particles, and I could apply even more energy or heat, and it would evolve, it would turn into a gas, and the particles are even quicker and go even further to the point where you eventually can't see them. Okay? Everything in the universe is vibrating. Now, there is a concept, and I call it a concept because we haven't observed it. We don't know if it's 100% true. It's more a theory, but the concept of absolute zero. Absolute zero would mean the particles in something aren't moving at all. Zero movement, but we've never observed it. We don't know if it's true or not. It's more a theory than what we know of reality. Now, here's what you gotta understand about vibration. Vibration over a sustained period of time creates frequency. Vibration is so quick that you cannot perceive it. You cannot determine what it is. Vibration moves so fast. So if I was to press a key on a keyboard, ding, right, on a piano, that note you just heard, ding, is a frequency. Even if I say it quickly, ding, it's still a frequency. The fact that you can hear it means it's a frequency because the vibration moves too quick for you to perceive. So a frequency happens when a vibration is prolonged over a period of time. All right? And how this relates to you and your mind, and often what you hear about frequency, right? And your thoughts become reality, et cetera, et cetera. What you probably heard about frequency is that your brain, you as a person, are an electrochemical being. Electricity, biology, chemistry all come together to create you. You're an electrochemical being. Your brain sends out electric signals to the rest of your body to do stuff. Your brain has these electric signals measured in hertz. This is how we measure vibration, okay, through something called hertz. It sends out signals in hertz, right, which tell you what to do or tell you what to think. So when you think something, there's a little vibration going off in your brain. Now, if you continue to think the same things over and over and over again, you are going to have a frequency of thought. You are frequently thinking things, therefore you have a frequency of thought. The same vibrations are happening all the time in your mind. The same electric signals are going off continually. So what did I say? A frequency is a vibration over a prolonged period of time. Are y'all following me?
Mm-hmm.
Good job. So this is what most knowledge of frequency is going to tell you, right? That your thoughts create your reality. You have a frequency of thought. Now, why is this, okay? If you have a frequency of thought, whatever you're thinking about is going to show up in your reality, because something called the reticular activation system, right? RAS. The reticular activation system it's a amalgamation of different parts of the brain, but it's essentially a filter. So when you have a mental frequency, your brain is filtering for that frequency. So you can see this all the time. I drive a Jaguar F-Pace, R Sport, right? Before I bought that car, before I was driving that car, I did not notice Jaguar SUVs on the road. But now, since that car is in my awareness, I see them every day because my mind, my brain is filtering to see it.
Ross.
Yes, Ross. So if you have a dog and your dog means a lot to you and you think about your dog a lot, your reticular activation system is going to start looking for dogs. And you're going to notice all the dogs. You're going to notice the dog toys. You're going to notice the dog stuff. You're going to notice parks that your dog could go to. You're going to filter for this. My mentor, Dr. John DeMartini, he calls it an attention bias, specific attention bias, right? So your attention is biased to a particular thing.
So basically, our brain's like an algorithm.
Yes. Yes. Now, you hear a lot of people talk about people being high vibration and low vibration, right? Here's the thing. High vibration and low vibration really has to do with speed, really has to do with fast vibration and slow vibration. Now, the faster someone is vibrating, and I'll get to speed soon. I just need to say this before because I'm going to draw out some things for you guys. The faster someone is vibrating, the more they're able to influence reality. Because the All, God, Allah, Big Bang, Brahman is the initial creation spark of the universe, which means everything comes from it and everything happens incredibly quickly. Your mind is closer to the spiritual plane. It is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. So your mind is the bridge. That's why your mind moves quickly. And when I say mind, I don't mean brain. Your brain is a physical manifestation of mind, okay? Your mind is something that people can't really explain because it's connected spiritually and physically. Your mind vibrates quickly. That's why you can imagine yourself in a Rolls Royce right now. You can imagine yourself in that mansion right now.
It's basically, sorry. It's basically like, in a sense, trying to describe when you close your eyes and like the limitness you can see and like that whole canvas that it creates for you to create whatever you want. Like that's basically like
that's how the mind operates. It's very difficult to explain. It's not the brain, okay? The brain is a physical manifestation. So when you hear people talk about high vibration and low vibration, they're talking about emotions. But your emotions, yes, they can have an effect on your frequency, but not if you have a certain level of awareness. All frequency is your level of awareness. Mental frequency is your level of awareness. Do you think somebody who knows how to ride a bike, and if they have a bad day and they're sad, that they're going to forget how to ride a bike? No. If somebody has a high degree of awareness of how to make money, how to make, let's say, $100 million companies like Alex Hormozi, do you think if he has a bad day that he's going to forget how to do that? No, he has the awareness, okay? Your frequency is quick or slow based upon your ability to change reality in the way you desire, your awareness of how to do it. And I'm going to get to teaching you how to change your awareness so you can actually do the things you want to do in life. All right. So I'm going to draw what a frequency would look like for you because it's important that you know what it looks like. So a frequency, we have different what you call waveforms. So I'm going to erase this out of here. Ross is gone. Okay. Ross is out of here. All right. So there's different what we would call wave forms when we're talking about frequency. Remember, frequency is sustained vibration over time. So we have something called a sine wave, which is probably what you've seen most common. We have something called a sawtooth wave, which is like this, and a square wave.
Very interesting.
Right? So this is your sine, saw, square. Okay, these are different waveforms. You're probably most familiar with the sine wave. All right. In music, this creates a very kind of like a consistent tone, right? It's like a bass instrument. It's consistent tone. A sawtooth is more jagged, and a square, it sounds more electronic, I would say. Each frequency, right? Each waveform has a speed, okay? Fast or slow. If I'm to draw waveforms in the spiritual plane, they're moving so fast. You can't even really perceive them, right? In physical reality, the things that you can actually see and hear, these waveforms are slow, big and slow, okay? Physical reality. But we want to get to quicker frequencies, right, to change our lives. Now, I'm going to break down exactly how these waveforms work and why they're important for you to change your life. So I'm just going to draw a sine wave in the middle here. All right, so I'm going to draw a sine wave. It goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down. Okay?
Sound like a Cardi B song.
Now, if you notice here, right, there is a, as I just said, up and down pattern, up and down. This is the universal law of polarity. Okay? You have positive times and negative times, right? And I'll just draw these, right? Positive, positive, negative. This is the law of polarity, all right? There is good and bad in life. There is hot and cold. There is up and down. There is soft and hard. There is light and heavy. The all, God, Allah, Big Bang, is the synthesis of all things, good and bad. But if you notice a frequency, it has this up and down pattern. What does this mean? Doesn't matter how high frequency you are, okay? You're still gonna have good times and bad times, and good times and bad times. This is the law of rhythm, the fifth hermetic law of the universe. Now, normally I draw a pendulum through this, but right now I just wanna draw a line that goes straight through this, okay? Go straight through this. This is your middle point, your centered point, all right? When you are not polarized, when you are present, when you can see both the good and bad in life. What a lot of people do when they tell you about being high frequency or low frequency, they tell you not to have negative thoughts, but it's not possible. You cannot live a one-sided reality. Your mind cannot be one-sided. There is good and bad. There is positive and negative. So they're basically trying to have you have a waveform that looks like this, just goes like this constantly. That's not a frequency. That's a fantasy, okay? It's not possible. Now, let me erase that. Okay, so you need to understand that frequency and being high frequency is not about feeling good all the time. It's not, because your life will have ups and downs, as it should. This is the law of rhythm, fifth hermetic law of the universe. Now, how do you move from, let's say, a point of life that you are currently, right, to a higher frequency, a faster frequency, a frequency that allows you to have the awareness to change your life? Okay, I'm gonna draw something else for you. I gotta erase these little things over here so you can see. So real quick, I realized as I was editing this, I forgot to go over the concept of amplitude of a waveform or the amplitude of a frequency. So amplitude is essentially how high or how low those peaks and valleys on the waveform go. So if it comes to music, that would be the volume of the frequency. Now, when it comes to your mind, this is how something matters to you, how much something matters to you. This is how much something has the ability to put you in a positive state or a negative state, and how massively that is going to impact your life. So let's say you go through a really hard breakup. That might have a massive amplitude on your life and bring you down to a low spot. Let's say you win the lottery. That's going to have huge, probably upwards positive amplitude within your mind. So this is important to understand because not everything is going to affect you the same way. Someone might cut you off in traffic. Yeah, you might be a little pissed off, but you'll get over it. Somebody breaks up with you. It might be a little more difficult. Let's continue on with the lesson. Basically, I'm teaching you guys things that would have taken 15 years to discover. And I'm doing it probably in less than half an hour. We'll see. Okay? Don't quote me on that. But how do you increase your awareness? I'm gonna draw something here for you now. I have now drawn another frequency that is literally the polar opposite of the frequency I just drew. And if you look at it, if I was to do it sideways, right? Can I draw this? Let me see my artistic skills.
I believe in you.
Let me see my artistic skills. Okay. It's not the greatest drawing. But if I'm to draw it going up, it kind of looks like what? What does it kind of look like?
A DNA.
Kind of looks like DNA, doesn't it? It looks like DNA. So, this is your body, literally your biology, trying to give you a sign about how life operates. Okay? And I'm gonna tell you why. Your body is literally built upon something that is teaching you something. When I have a waveform, right? When I have a waveform, we'll draw this one in red. I'll go over it in red, right? I have a waveform, okay? And I overlay a waveform that's completely opposite of it. What happens is the sound cancels. You don't hear anything. This is a centered state. This This is centered state. This is the ever elusive thing that people talk about called presence. The only way you are going to increase your frequency is by canceling out whatever you are charged up about. And you've seen this in my other videos, right? Polarity, we got negative, right? And we got positive. And what you basically need to do is find the negative within the positive and the positive within the negative. When you do that, you increase your awareness and you become more enlightened. So this happens. You go boom up here, and this goes boom up here, and you become more enlightened. A negatively charged electron and a positively charged proton, when they smash together, they create gamma rays, which is light. When you are able to combine the negative and the positive together, you become more enlightened, you become more aware. And I'm gonna break this down for you in something, a very, very simple example. Very, very simple example. You once didn't know how to tie your shoes, okay? It may have caused you a lot of stress. It may have been very problematic for you. But when you could tie your shoes, you were happy. Yay, woohoo, I can tie my shoes. When you couldn't tie them, oh my gosh, this is so terrible, I can't tie my shoes. Now you don't care about it. You know why? Because you are aware of how to do it. You know how to do it, so you're not emotionally swung up by it. What are you, though, when it comes to tying your shoes? You are grateful. You are grateful that you can tie your shoes. This is why you hear so many people in the spiritual space talk about gratitude. But you're over there sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for stuff in my life. I'm grateful. You're really not, right? You're grateful for the things that you have awareness of, that you're aware of the negatives and positives of, and you've canceled out. That's how you increase your frequency. That is how you become higher vibrating. You become more aware. The all is aware of all things. So the more aware you become, the more you are able to change physical reality. The more you're able to change your mind, you change the signals that go towards the spiritual plane and import down into the physical plane through gratitude. True gratitude. True gratitude is seeing something for the negative and the positive and appreciating both sides. If you have children, your kids aren't always the best. They're not always the greatest. There's downsides. There's negative parts to having kids waking you up in the middle of the night or whatever. But you see the positives of your kids and you appreciate and love them all the same with the negatives and the positives. That is true gratitude. That is true love. And that is how you increase your frequency. When many people have children, they become more aware of life. Plenty of the massive entrepreneurs, top 1% entrepreneurs, people who are what I would call masters of reality, in a sense, they have kids, right? They have kids because it gave them a different level of awareness, a different understanding of positive and negative. This is how you increase your frequency. It doesn't really have to do so much with your emotions. You can be angry in high frequency. You can be sad in high frequency. You can even be jealous in high frequency. These are polarized emotions. They don't last. Because if you need to be happy all the time to bring things into your life, you're going to be screwed when something bad happens. You following me? Mm-hmm. Are you okay, or is pregnancy attacking you?
It's definitely attacking me, but I'm here.
Right. So if you need to be happy all the time to manifest things into your life, you're going to have a problem when something goes bad. So this is another thing that has to do with high frequency. All right. And I'm gonna erase in here now because I need to write something. I need to write some words, guys. There's a lot of diagram-isms occurring right now. But I hope y'all are following me. I hope you're taking notes. If you don't understand, play the video back again. If you don't understand, play it back a third time, because this is the stuff people won't tell you because they don't understand it. It's not their fault that they don't understand. I've had to study frequency to get paid for over 15 years.
I like the way you brought up the whole slow speed in the physical versus fast speed in the spiritual.
Yes.
Because like a lot of us think, oh, low frequency is a bad thing, but when you really look at it, it's like you wouldn't be able to feel the physicality of things or even be able to grasp the physicality of things without it actually being a slow movement and a slow frequency type of thing.
Exactly.
It changes, and it's like the closer you get to the all, the quicker the things move, which makes sense, like our thoughts. I think that made it a lot more clearer to get that each of those things have a space and a purpose.
Absolutely.
To the whole thing of what we want.
Thank you. So what she just reminded me of too was the concept of time, right? The only reason you can experience physical reality is due to time. It's due to time. If we didn't have time, right? They say this in the Lucy movie that we rewatched the other day. If a car is driving at 100 miles per hour, right? You can perceive it due to time. But if it's moving so fast that you can't see it, boom, does it exist? Does it exist in physical reality without time? You can't perceive it, right? So time is a physical manifestation. You should appreciate time, right? It allows you to experience physical reality, you know? So what does it mean to be high frequency then? And how do you know that your frequency is increasing? The speed of your frequency is increasing. Oops. Okay. How do you know your frequency is increasing, and how do you know that you're more high frequency? How long does it take for you to go back to baseline? When something crazy happens, right, and you're in a down mood, how soon is it that you get to a centered state? Okay? How soon is it that you are no longer swayed up about whatever is happening? If I go back to the shoelaces example, right? You not being able to tie your shoes as a kid may have affected you for like a day or more, a week, right? But now, if you couldn't tie your shoe or your shoe was untied, you'd be like, whatever, I know how to tie my shoe. Boom, and you're back to baseline. I made a video the other day, I think it was about time, like when will my manifestations happen? And I was talking about time. And I shared that at that time, one of the businesses I'm running had a 50% reduction in revenue, okay? Now that sucks, that's not a good time. But I didn't get swayed up because I understand the law of rhythm and that there's ups and downs and ups and downs. So it didn't have the ability to affect my frequency. I was able to go to a centered state very quickly. And when you can do that, reality starts to respect you, okay? And I compare reality to a woman a lot, okay? So if, as a man, for instance, right, as a man, and I've noticed that like my viewership is completely skewed now. It's like 100% men when it used to be 100% women. So I don't know, maybe I got too logical or too mean or too something, I don't know, but whatever. So let's say you're a man, right? And your woman is coming to you with like massive emotions and coming at you or whatever. If you start picking up all emotional like her, she's not gonna respect that. She's gonna be afraid of you, there's gonna be problems, she's not gonna respect that. You need to be able to be centered, you need to be able to be calm. When she's trying to sway you and knock you around certain ways emotionally, you need to be able to be calm and centered and present and okay. And she will respect you more for that. Reality is like that. Reality knows that if it can sway you, it will. You understand? If a woman knows she can sway you with certain emotional outbursts, she will do them more, right? Just like people who come from chaotic backgrounds, for instance, and they get in relationships with people and they bring chaos, and if it can sway that person, they will continue to bring chaos into their life. You understand? So when bad things happen in reality, you need to take it easy. Because you are aware that it's just the swing of rhythm and it's just reality trying to see if you really want what you want.
That's so true though, because even as like a female, all the friend drama, all the family drama that happens rarely ever makes it to me because they know I'm never that person to come and like match that energy.
Exactly.
I'm always that calm place that you could come to like reflect on your actions or to balance it with logic. You know, like I'm never that person.
It's so true. It's so true. So they know not to bring certain things to you because you're gonna be like, I don't have time for this. Or you're gonna be like, how do we solve this?
Or I also have the problem where I see both sides. So I'll be like, okay, well, I can see where you're coming from, and I can also see where they're coming from. Like, even the most evilest people, I can still balance out, okay, what's the knowledge? What's the purpose? What's the intent behind this versus like, yeah. Anyways,
I know what you mean. So you gotta be able to go back to baseline, and that is an indication of high frequency.
Oh, did you just say I'm high frequency person?
Yes, that's why our life is the way it is. So that's high frequency, all right? Being able to be centered and unswayed by the swings of reality. The Kabbalion says, I think something along the lines of those who have mastered rhythm just stand above it and view the pendulum swing as it affects everyone else. Something along those lines. The people who run the world are less swung up emotionally than everyone else. And they're high frequency because they have a high level of awareness of how reality operates and are able to change reality. If Jeff Bezos tomorrow decides Amazon's closed, how many people's lives is he gonna affect? How many people are gonna get emotionally swung up due to that? If that's not a powerful control over reality, I don't know what is. But if he was in a good mood and canceled Amazon, or if he was in a bad mood or canceled Amazon, he still had that power. And he also has the awareness to bring Amazon back if he wanted to. That's all it is. So when it comes to frequency, I hope you were taking notes. Your frequency entirely has to do with your awareness. And you only become more aware when you learn how to cancel out the negatives and the positives in life and see both sides and become more enlightened. That is true enlightenment. And when you are enlightened, you are present, you are calm, you are poised, you are unswung and unaffected by the swings of reality. Now, if you need any help with this, you can work with me one-on-one because it was a lot. If you need any help in elevating your frequency, moving faster in your frequency and increasing your awareness, you can work one-on-one with me or you can join my next Realm program. I'll see y'all in the next one from me and Wifey. Peace.